as a trader, you need to have a position. You need to have an opinion, right? It's going to go down, it's going to go up, and you need to take a trade accordingly.
Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this. Hey, Walter, so there's this idea of trading what you see versus trading what you want to happen. So maybe you could talk about that a little bit and how people can not maybe project their expectations on the charts.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, I have to say, this is definitely something that I have to work on a lot. So screenshots help, or taking videos of your trades, that helps. But it's tough. You know, you can keep telling yourself, I need to trade what I see and not what I think. I think the best way I've found to get into that right mindset is to think in terms of probabilities. And to remember there's the false duality problem that we fall into, where you think it's either this or this, like it's either going to go up or down. You know, no, not really. Like that's not, you know what I mean? Like that's one that a lot of traders fall into, right?
Yeah.
So because it can do a lot more than that. So yeah, so if you can think in terms of probabilities, and that's what I try and do when I look and I go, okay, I think the most likely thing is this. But what if it does this? You know, there's a 20% chance of that. And there's maybe even a 5% chance that it does this, you know, whatever. And then what you do is you take the individual candles that come at you from the market when they print on the chart. That's additional information. And then you have to decide, does this fit theory A, B, or C? Like, right? Most of the time when I look at a chart, I usually have about 3 different highly likely scenarios. Maybe one's 70, maybe one's 20, and maybe one's 10, right? So I think the 70, but I'm aware that the 20 or the 10 could also occur. And so when I get in another candle, I fit it in, okay, where is it fitting now? Is it fitting in the A, the B, the C scenario, right? And the other thing is you can think about what other people are doing. So if I'm buying the Euro USD right now, what are the traders thinking who are selling? What are they seeing? You know, like make a case for them. So it forces you out of your own perspective. That's all. I mean, to me, that's the best I can do. Like, because I know this is something like people will say, trade what you see, not what you think. Okay, fine. But how do you do that? Right. And so for me, thinking probabilistically, being aware of the false duality, also making a case for the trader on the other side of your trade has helped me. But I don't know what I mean. What else do you have? Because that's the most I've been able to come up with. What do you have?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that as a trader, you need to have a position. You need to have an opinion, right? It's going to go down, it's going to go up, and you need to take a trade accordingly. So I think that you're always going to be projecting some sort of a idea onto the chart and saying this is what I want to do. But like you said, it's not. You shouldn't get married to it. You can't get married to it. And I do the similar thing where I imagine the opposite thing happening. So I try to make a case for the opposite. If I'm going to go short, does this look like a long? You know, could it be a long pattern? Could it be a long price action setup or structure? So that's what I do. I just look at the opposite. And like you said, there could be other things that could happen. So I try to factor that in. But I think that looking for the opposite has helped me the most. And taking it candle by candle, like having that hypothesis, but when next candle appears, okay, does it support the hypothesis or not? Next candle, and just kind of taking it from there.
Yeah, that's meant to be how science works, right? Like science is supposed to be okay. We have this hypothesis. Yeah, theoretically, exactly. And I would argue that it's very there's a lot of cliques and in group, out group sort of stuff in science in every single field you can think of. It's amazing, actually. I've seen it in psychology when I was in that world, and I've seen it in my wife's world because she's like she's doing stuff that's against the norm, right? It's kind of new, cutting edge, and it's being rejected by the old guard, you know, and it has nothing to do with the data.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in theory, in theory, what you're supposed to do, you come up with a hypothesis, you test it, and then the data either supports or refutes your hypothesis, right? And you're really setting up a straw man hypothesis. And then you want the straw man hypothesis to lose out. And then your alternative hypothesis, which is related to your theory, That's what's supposed to be most likely, right? And so it keeps knocking down all these alternative explanations in science until you're left with what seems to be the most likely thing, which is, hey, it's our theory. Well, in practice, it doesn't really work that way, right? Like it doesn't. And it's the same thing in trading. In practice, what we should do is we should look at a trade and go, well, this is what I think is going on. Like today, I'm taking a trade, or probably will take a trade later on if it triggers, on the euro Canadian dollar. It's a trendy kangaroo tail. All the numbers, everything looks good for a bullish move. But I also said to myself, what if it double tops here, right? Like it could pull back and then make a double top, or it could start to tighten up and make like a little wedge or whatever. So there's at least two other things that I have to be aware of here. At least two, probably, or I could think of three more. But the point is, I have to, like, when the candles come, I have to go, okay, is it fitting my original case, or is it starting to fit something else, right? And that's what I have to do. Well, that's the trick. I think you've really nailed it. There is, you got to understand that, you know, you're on the other side of this trade with some other traders, and what are they thinking? And so when the data comes in, and the data are the candles, if you're a technical trader, as the data trickles in, where are we at? Are we still really looking at like this is good, or is it not looking so good? So yeah.
Yeah, good point. All right, cool. Thanks, Walter. All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.